Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other videos that I've posted in the past. Recently, I posted a video on how to make chicken cacciatore in the wok. Then I used the same penne pasta, and I used to make a teriyaki pork with a vegetable medley. And with my fast cooking system, I have a lot of flexibility in create various kind of dishes. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to use the same basic template to create another pasta dishes with pesto. For this video, I'm going to cook the entire dish in my carbon steel wok. This carbon steel wok I purchased from Aldi for $7.45 when it went on sale. Now this is a great wok. And I'm going to use also a pasta from Aldi, which is a rotini. Now this pasta is very inexpensive as well. It costs only $1.09. So as you can see, you can eat very economically and also eat excellently. So in here, first of all, is that I boil the pasta noodles. And to stop the boiling of the pasta noodles, I simply transferred it into a bowl of cold water. This is a much better way to do it rather than try to pour out the water and into a colander. And then I take it over the sink and I rinse it briefly, and this will stop the pasta from cooking any further. I store them in plastic containers so I can use it over a period of time. I boil the noodles in my carbon steel wok. As you can see, after boiling, it removed the protective oil layer from the surface. However, you don't have to really worry because use my spot seasoning method, you can quickly restore the oil to the surface and create a non-stick cooked surface in a matter of 15 seconds instead of have to reseason the wok all over again. And so basically this method allow me to create a non-stick cooked surface anytime that I want, and that's the effectiveness of the spot seasoning method. As you can see in here, the egg does not stick. The wok is a multifunctional cooking utensil. You can use it for many different types of cooking functions in the wok. And in fact, a wok usually can take care of almost most of the cooking needs in most kitchens. Now, the carbon steel wok is not as good as a stainless steel wok because it has a tendency to rust, but otherwise it works equally well. In here, the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to stir fry the vegetable first. I'm going to start out with some broccoli, and then this is followed by some cauliflower. And because of advanced prepping, I have them available to me immediately when I enter into the kitchen. I'm also going to add a small amount of carrot. Now you notice that I do not add a lot of vegetables. The reason is that I do not want to overcrowd the wok. If you have too much vegetable, too much food ingredients in the wok, the temperature of the oil will drop too drastically, and this will not allow you to properly to sear the food ingredients. As you can see in here, the temperature of the wok is very high, and some of the broccoli as well as the cauliflower get slightly charred, and this will give them a nice flavor. Here I add just a touch of oil because I do not want to get the food ingredients to become burned. The next step is to add the shrimp to the wok. The order for adding the food ingredients is crucial. You want to add the food ingredients that you want to cook longer in the beginning, and then you add those food ingredients that you want to only cook slightly, you add them later. Now these are extra large shrimp. This shrimp have shell on. Personally, I find the extra large shrimp provide better culinary experience. And when you have the shrimp that have shell on, they have two advantages. First and foremost is that it prevents the shrimp from freezer burn. And secondly is that when you cook the shrimp, you have a little bit more leeway. And the shell will protect the shrimp from being overcooked. At this stage, I add a little bit more cooking oil. Again, I usually start with a minimum amount of cooking oil because this will allow me to keep the temperature high. And then I follow by adding some portobello mushroom. Again, the reason for adding the portobello mushroom at this stage of the cooking process is because you want to cook them relatively lightly as compared to other ingredients in the wok. When people ask me, what is the order for adding different type of food ingredients? Well, the answer actually is quite simple, but it also depends on how you like the food ingredients. the food ingredients that you want to cook longer. For example, broccoli, carrot, and cauliflower are more dense, so you would like to cook them a little bit longer. Therefore, you add them in the early stage of the cooking process. When it comes to shrimp, it is important that you do not overcook them, so I can keep an eye on it. I feel that now they are pretty much cooked to the texture and doneness that I want. So at this stage is that I am going to remove the shrimp and set them aside. So this way will allow me to keep them in the type of texture and doneness that I want. Proteins are generally more sensitive to stir frying, and when you stir fry proteins, it's more likely for you to overcook them. So keeping an eye on them is really important. The next stage is that I add the rotini to the wok. I took the rotini out from the refrigerator and I microwave it for about 30 to 45 seconds just to warm it up a little bit. Up to this point, I have left the burner at the highest setting. Now I turn the burner to medium and medium-low because at this point I'm really at the final stage of the cooking process. I really do not need to cook the ingredients in the same way as I have done earlier. I do not need to char them because I already did the searing and charring in the early stages. So at this point, I just want to warm everything up to the temperature for proper serving. So now I'm ready to flavor the dish. And the way how I'm going to flavor the dish is that I'm going to use a pesto sauce. Now this pesto sauce, which I purchased from Sam's Club, and it is an excellent sauce, and it's also quite inexpensive. This entire bottle is a 22-ounce bottle. It costs about $9. I bought it on sale, actually for a little bit over $7. The pesto sauce is quite dense. So I did is I just diluted with a little bit of olive oil. I find that another way to make the pesto sauce a little bit lighter is to dilute it with a little bit of water. But I think the olive oil seems to work better from my perspective. Last but not the least is I'm going to add some colored bell pepper. Now I'm going to use this red colored bell pepper which I have in my advanced prepping. The color really makes the dish look better. And then the very last step is that to combine the shrimp. I'm going to toss everything together just for about maybe a few seconds. And then the next step is that I actually going to pick out the shrimp from the wok because I'm going to rearrange it so that it will give me a better presentation of the dish. Again, presentation sometimes play an important role of how you feel about a dish. So as you can see is that the rotini has taken on the green color which come from the pesto sauce. And in this dish, I'm using the vegetable relatively lightly because I want the rotini to take on the main characteristics of the dish. But nevertheless, I am able to combine, in fact, 5 different kinds of vegetables for this dish. And this is the advantage of advanced prepping because with advanced prepping, you can have different kinds of vegetables at your disposal. And you don't have to worry about that I'm not going to use it up because if you're not going to use for this particular dish, you can always use for a future dish. This dish is very fast to cook. In fact, the cook time is only about 6 to 7 minutes. But this dish, the nice thing is that it's based on the template, so you don't have to worry about a recipe at all. You just improvise and create the flavor that you would like. And also, another aspect of this dish is that I only use 4 jumbo large shrimp. And the shrimp, in this case, used mainly as a condiment rather than as a main ingredient. And when you use the shrimp as a condiment, it will add characteristics to this dish, but without having to use a lot of shrimp, and this makes the dish less expensive. This dish is very economical. In fact, the total dish probably costs not more than $5. And it is a great dish. It is enough to serve 2 people. And if I have a guest, I can just simply expand it. And this makes this dish a very flexible dish. And it gives a wonderful presentation. So as you can see here, flavor plays an important role in defining what dish that you prepare. So I would like to show you how to make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, fun, as well as to give you a lot of diversity. This is feasible by having a system, which is the fast cooking system. With it, you can create almost unlimited number of dishes. And so keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.